Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. It is Hump Day. It is actually the last Wednesday of August. Can you guys believe that? Next week we'll start a new month. We'll be in September already. I should have known September was right around the corner. Anytime my favorite coffee shops are now offering dreaded pumpkin whatever. Y'all know how I feel about the pumpkin thing. Some of you all are pumpkin spice lovers. I could take it or leave it, but that's how you know fall is right around the corner. Well, I have another great show planned for your viewing and listening pleasure this evening. Tonight's show is dedicated to our young people. Everywhere you turn, there are news stories about our young people. We have a lot of unrest, not only here in Chicago, but other major cities across the country. If you've been watching the news the last few nights, Kenosha, Wisconsin right now is in a lot of just painful turmoil and strife there, and anything that we can do to pray for the people of Kenosha, Wisconsin. And so tonight we're going to talk to a group of young people who are going to help us to understand what young people are going through now more than ever. Our young people are our future leaders, and here's the deal: whether they lead good, bad, or indifferent, we as a people need to understand where our young people are coming from. A lot of you all may be parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and you like, yeah, I know where my nephew and niece is coming from. Yeah, I got them. Not really. So this group of young people tonight will help to explain a lot of things that we have been missing, not paying attention to, and there may be some things that we want to get on the bandwagon and help these young people with, okay? Well, our guest co-host tonight is no stranger to the show. Not only do I love her because she's a phenomenal chef, she's an amazing singer, businesswoman, but she actually has been in education in the field of educating our young people for a number of years now, and she really is the producer of tonight's show. She gathered these wonderful young people for me, and I'm just honored to bring her back. She is Miss Takana Young, but around here we call her Chef Takana. Yay! Hey!
Hey, hon, how are you?
I'm good, beautiful. How are you?
I'm as lovely as I hope I look.
As they would say, you look delicious. You do. You look amazing. So how's everything? How's the world been treating you through all of this? You know, the last time you were here with us, you kind of was giving us an update of how you're getting through this whole COVID thing. The school season is back upon us, and so where are you at with all of this right now, Chef?
So business-wise, I am doing phenomenal. Of course, everyone's, because of COVID-19, has realized finally that building their immune system is what's necessary to combat a lot of what's happening. And so meal prep has been up. So that's an awesome thing. Business has been great.
Yes. Good.
So I'm loving that. That's amazing. Education-wise, I start back face-to-face school on September 8th, and I am not happy at all.
Oh boy. So what are you going to do about all of this?
I don't know which version of truth you want.
Oh my God. Well, the truth that won't get you in trouble on this show, if anybody happens to be, you know.
So I'm going to be present with my mask and my shield and my bonnet and my gloves, and we'll see how that works because I can't talk with any of those things on. So we'll see.
Okay. Right. All right. Well, we'll see. You know, I've had this conversation with quite a few educators on, you know, how comfortable would they be going back into a classroom setting. And I'll talk to everyone from elementary school to, you know, professors who might have to go back into a lecture hall. And, you know, they're saying, I'm not necessarily ready for this. I don't know how ready I would be. You know, we already talked about, you know, quite a few of the seasoned educators maybe suffering with health issues. Age may play a huge factor in it. And, you know, and they're like, I don't know how quick I'm going to go back to a classroom. And a lot of people are rethinking what they will do if they don't go back into a classroom. Thank God you have something else.
Yeah, and I don't blame them because I personally don't believe tuition over lives is important. I believe that this pandemic really, really was telling about where we are as educators and how quickly we could rebound. And I think we've done a phenomenal job with the very short notice that we had. We had to figure it out all in a matter of a weekend. So I'm excited because it has stretched the envelope for us as educators on how we go about our regular lesson planning and teaching and how we can affect change with our students. And honestly, I think the new world, I think the plandemic, because that's what I call it. I think that it is telling because it is, to me, a better opportunity, or it's an opportunity for us as educators to do it from home. I personally believe students learn better when they're comfortable, and a lot of kids are more comfortable at home, and they're more talkative, they're more expressive, they're more creative in an environment where they feel the most safe. So that works for those that do feel safe. Those kids that are having other issues, now I think as educators we can identify them more and actually get them the services maybe that they need.
Interesting. Well, from all of the friends that I've been talking to and people that I've been following on social media platforms, it's been mixed opinions. Some of my friends were super excited, the last couple of Mondays, the post first day of school, and here's little so-and-so sitting in front of the computer. And by that second or third day, the story, the narrative was different. The parent was talking about they need a glass of wine earlier, just all of that. And so, I find what you're saying to be extremely interesting, and it definitely is another take on it that we've not looked at. But, some of my friends are like, Lord have mercy, this child needs to go back to a building. And I think a lot of people are really finding out how bad their damn children are. Oh, did I say that?
You did.
Did I say that?
Can I co-sign it? Can I co-sign it?
They finding out that Boo Boo's ass is bad. You know what I'm saying? So And so I would hope that all of our children do well. On this show, we've been offering options and alternative for people to continue to keep educating their children. We had an amazing young lady, Dr. Tessa, on Monday night, and just fabulous. So throughout the month of September, we'll be offering more things that will help people to think of other ways of keeping their children engaged, whether homeschooling. And here's the deal. They're not going to a classroom every day. Some of these schools are doing every other, and so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, they're doing a hybrid plan. So a couple days in and a couple days out. So it's a hybrid plan. I think that that's good. But I still feel kind of uncomfortable because we are not clear yet on this virus and how it will impact. And because we're going into the fall, where the flu season is here. So whatever we experienced earlier this year before the spring began or during spring, I think it'll be magnified in the fall because now you have people that have come through, have survived COVID, that are about to go through COVID for the second time. I know people that have experienced it twice already. And a lot of that makes me very concerned when we're sending our children back, even into a hybrid situation. Look, I've been in education for almost 20 years. What I can tell you is I've been in a lot of schools, and I'm praying that this sanitation methodology that they're using and what they're saying is going to be consistent because, that's the challenge. How do you keep a school sanitized as well as you say you will on paper to assist with the prevention of the spread? Because I'm going to tell you, they got one time to sneeze in my classroom. I'm packing everything up.
You're going to be like, just swoop it all in your purse. Just all in your purse.
I'm gonna be like that man on that piano in The Color Purple. Gotta go.
That's what I thought. That's right. Exactly. Right. That was so funny. I was meeting with somebody earlier today, and they had every precaution available. They had the shield, sanitizer, and I carry my own electronic thermometer. I carry my man bag, my MERS. I got everything in there. Toilet seat covers, gloves, you name it. It's in my bag, right? And the lady sneezed today while we was in the meeting. And first thing she said, "Hey, Fever, please forgive me." And I said, "I got you, girl. I know." She said, "I got right." People are now afraid of sneezing. You know what I'm saying? Or coughing or any of that. And so I don't know. It's a mess, Takana. It really is.
It's kind of scary. We went to a restaurant the other day for lunch, and my partner, my better half, had a spicy hamburger, and immediately his sweat beads started coming on his head, and then he sneezed. I said, "Oh hell!" He said, "Oh my God, they're gonna put us out." I said, "You better not sneeze no more."
Right. It's sad. I think more people, I used to laugh all the time. People who hold sneezes in end up farting. And I say it's probably more people now out here farting to keep from sneezing than anything. So I don't know. Yes, you all, we realize you will have to sneeze. It's just something you do. And I don't panic when people sneeze like that. Now you keep sneezing, I'm going to be a little nervous and worried. I am, but a sneeze every now and then, I'm not mad about it. All right, well, let's go ahead with our daily COVID numbers. The Illinois Department of Public Health announced 2,157 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. Unfortunately, we had 37 additional deaths in the last 24 hours. That's the most deaths in one day since July 7th. Overall, Illinois has reported 7,954 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. And right now, we have 225,627 known cases. And we want to remind you guys to please wear your mask. That's what you have to do. You have to wear your mask. I had a fabulous lunch today, and I was telling my lunch date, I said, we have to wear masks now, even talking to the busboy, the waiter, everybody. And, when you're enjoying yourself and having a fabulous time, do you want another this? And so now you've got to do that, you guys. You've got to practice, because we do want to keep our waiters, waitresses, our restaurant workers as safe as possible, our bar staff, because we don't want to spread the transmission to these people either. And another thing, the state of Illinois is clamping down again in Will and Kankakee counties. They will have to close everything at 11 p.m. at night now. They can only have 25% capacity in casinos and no more indoor dining. Because their numbers are going back up. Remember, honey, when they tried to say we was nasty up here in Chicago and we all wicked and illicit and our COVID numbers are going up? Well, guess what? These other areas, their numbers are going up. So good job, Chicago. Continue to keep sanitizing, wear your mask, social distance. And if you're not feeling well, what do we say on this show? Keep your ass at home. Honey, on this show, we said keep your ass at home.
That's what I said. I agree.
Right. That, honey, we break it down like that on this show. Keep your ass at home. That's the only way people understand that. I don't care what language you speak. Tell them keep their ass at home. They'll get it. They'll get it. Okay. So last night was day 2 of the Republican convention. And last night, our First Lady, Melania Trump, delivered I think it was almost a 35-minute speech last night. One thing that I will have to say is that whoever was Melania's teleprompter coach, they a beast, baby. They a beast. They had her reading that teleprompter like you wouldn't believe. But the unfortunate part, she looked mechanic. She didn't look real today delivering that speech. And you could tell it was look to the right, look to the left, look to the middle, don't stay here too long, girl, and move this way. And she didn't give you any energy. She didn't, her English is getting good now. Her English is great, I'm just going to leave it at that. So I do want to talk about something that did make the news, was her fashion choice. Last night, the First Lady strolled down the carpet past those beautiful white pillars at the White House. Remember, she's redone the Rose Garden. So last night was the more contemporary version of the Rose Garden. And she had on an olive green suit with broad shoulders, military edge. It was tailored now. It was tailored. And then she had that waist cinched. That waist cinched like a mug. But that outfit choice she had on last night looked as if she was going to combat, almost like she was fighting for somebody or fighting for a cause. That may have been for her man, but I probably, if I was First Lady, I'd have had on something a little bit more airy, a little bit more, you know, how you like me now. Because here's the deal. Melania is actually a very beautiful woman. I don't want to take that away from her. It's just who she's married to and the position that she's in. I appreciate beauty. You get what I'm saying? I don't care. You could be Satan. If you beautiful Satan, I'm gonna appreciate your beauty. You're still a devil. You get what I'm saying? So what did you think about last night?
So I agree with what you said. I do a lot of decoding when I see things. I pay attention to color schemes. I pay attention to body language because you talk before you open your mouth. And I am a student of body language. She was not authentic in her speaking. It was definitely contrived. Yeah, it was that kind of thing. She's robotic, but she's a mail order bride. So let's just keep it 100 because you know that's
100. Right.
1,000. Wow.
right. One easy. Yes.
So her color scheme, army green, is combative. I am here. I am in my, what I had to redo because I don't like what Michelle may have done, Rose Gardenish. And so let me do something different, contrary to what she did. And then let me show you that I'm a boss in my color scheme, because I want you to focus on that in the event that me reading this teleprompter don't work out in my favor. Look at my outfit. I'm cute. I'm cinched. I'm snatched. But I feel like I wanted to dress tonight because you showing your power. You showing your combativeness, baby. I'm showing you my guard, my combativeness. You know, we Black power. So if you in your army gear, I'm in mine.
Right. Yeah, but now here's the deal. The Rose Garden actually goes back to the Kennedy administration. And actually Jackie Kennedy created that Rose Garden. And any first lady who has come in, all they've done is ever changed the flowers, whatever colors they like. So let's say Mrs. Bush, the first Mrs. Bush, wanted white roses in the garden. Then, you know, they would change it like that. But the design of the Rose Garden has never changed. And again, the White House is the people's house. Keep in mind, this man just had his brother's funeral there last week. Now you are actually having a convention at the White House. And again, these are the people's house. You're not spending a dime to have your convention. Somebody need to question that. They need to question that. Right.
There was a report today that some of the monies that he's been raising, he's been putting into some of his private businesses. It's just so much mess going on. Listen, I don't know. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot. But Melania is trying her hardest. She's done her best with this guy that she allowed to purchase her and marry her. It is what it is.
She said, I became a citizen. I became a citizen. I did. I became one. I did.
So, you know, I'm gonna let her live. I'm gonna let her live. She has a great stylist. Yes, her English has gotten better.
Right.
It's gotten better. But in my heart, every time I see her, I watch her eyes. And her eyes scream at me. Someone help me.
Right.
Get me out of here. That's what her eyes scream to me. So all that looking around was, help me. Can you see I'm in bondage? Like, it's a whole lot.
Oh, I love it. One of my good friends, Dawn Millhouse, she said, although my favorite color is green and dope, completely wrong season. And for sure it was military. It was so military last night that, you know, again, the only thing I was jealous of was her singed waist. I was sitting there trying to suck it in and all that, but God bless you, Melania. God bless you. So tonight is night 3. When I get off the air, I'm gonna get me a cocktail and we're gonna watch night 3. All right. So again, we are praying for the people of Kenosha, Wisconsin. As you guys all know, on Sunday afternoon, Mr. Jacob Blakes was shot 7 times in the back by a Kenosha police officer. What started as a domestic ended up in this young man being shot. Last medical report given is that he is paralyzed from the waist down. It would only take a miracle for this young man to be able to walk again. And we are feeling really sad. Well, yesterday, his mother issued a statement. She made a plea for people all across the country to take a moment and examine your heart. And this plea is just absolutely what needs to be said. It is what we need to hear. I feel so bad for Kenosha, Wisconsin, because see, I just said this yesterday. Cities like Kenosha are already peaceful, quiet little cities. They don't have the Gucci and the Prada stores and all that was tore up here in Chicago. These people have mom and pop shops and things like that. To know that this type of damage, and so I thought it was so gracious of the family to say, listen, he would not want you all to be doing this, but now we're faced with another night of looting and rioting, and now Chicago is preparing for rioting this weekend. I was down on Rush Street in Oak having lunch today, and by the time I came out the restaurant, baby, they had shut that street down.
Wow.
Oh, they're putting barriers up. They're putting barriers up. They're worried. What do you have to say about the Jacob Blake thing?
Well, we've had protests. So, we've been having a protest every single day since the murder of George Floyd in our city. And so it's been everywhere, and so this only adds to what we feel is our issue and why there is a problem and something needs to happen. This isn't new. The unfortunate thing is this isn't new. Let me say this. I'm watching this Netflix series, and a comment was made. It's Umbrella Academy. Let me just say it that way real quick.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch that.
So there is, and this isn't a spoiler, but this is something that's apropos for what we're talking about. There is a scene in this show where one of the stars is asking her partner to come back with her to 2019, because right now she's in 1960 something.
Right.
And he doesn't want, because he's a part of the civil rights movement in the 60s. He's like, well, I feel like I really need to stay here because the movement, I can make a change. She said, look, in 2019, nothing really has changed. The movement is still going on. And so it was just amazing to me to see that on film, and even them, doing that kind of show, talking about what we were fighting back then, we are currently still dealing with now. It is magnified by social media, and it is a blessing and a curse. So it's just unnerving, the things that are happening, and just the gall that some have and the privilege that they exude during these times.
It's heartbreaking. It really is. And then to think that, some people still are out here just doing crazy things in the name of Black Lives Matter, because we'll have to talk about the young man, Kyle Rittenhouse. That's a hot mess as well, too. Let me do this real quick and we'll talk about him. The Milwaukee Bucks decided to not play the playoff game that was scheduled with the Orlando Magic. 3 NBA playoff games scheduled for Wednesday will be postponed as players are protesting the August 23rd shooting of Jacob Blake. The league announced, and I think that is a really great thing. The president of the Milwaukee Bucks senior vice president sent out a tweet saying some things are bigger than basketball. Stand today by the players and the organization shows that we are fed up. Enough is enough. Change needs to happen. And I thank the Milwaukee Bucks for doing so. And I think other people need to stand up as well. We need to show people that we cannot be taken for granted any longer.
Did you see what LeBron James said?
No, what did he say? I didn't catch that. I heard he made a statement, but I didn't catch it. What did he say?
It's rated R, but it's F this. I'm tired. F this. I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah.
I'm glad that they did that. That shows a sense of solidarity, because there's a lot more going on in the world than a basketball game. Right. And I get the pastime, I understand it, but we got bigger issues that need to be addressed, resolved, and dealt with more than a virtual basketball game. I'm good on that right now. I can wait on that. Let's deal with this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, a 17-year-old has been charged with homicide after 2 people were killed and another seriously wounded by gunfire during overnight protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake Jr. The 17-year-old man is Kyle Rottenhouse. What a name. Rittenhouse, I'm sorry. I thought it said Rotten, same damn thing.
Yep.
And here is the problem of this situation. This young man, if he had been white, I think things probably would have been black, things would have been so much more different than how they are now with him being a white young man. And then here's the deal. He wasn't even from Wisconsin. He came from Illinois to do this, over an hour away. And a lot of people are saying these are not all our young black people entangled in these protests.
This young man has been all his life bred. You hear me? He was bred as a Blue Lives Matter person. My brother-in-law is an officer. Several of my wonderful, lovely friends, as well as family, are officers of the law. Okay. I understand they all get entangled in certain things that happen that go beyond their control. But here's my issue. This young man is wielding an AR-15, a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
He's 17. Let's talk about the law. That's illegal. Wisconsin is not an open carry state.
No, it's not.
So when he was seen with the gun, he should have been arrested. One. Second, I watched folks' body language. He gave them a code in body language as he was speaking to the officers while he walked towards them. Yes. He did a hand movement to let him know, I am with y'all.
Right.
An officer, you can hear in one of the videos, says, thank you. You can hear an officer saying, we got two, we'll leave two for you. So it is very telling of our times, of the cloaks that are worn by those that got into the business of protect and serve, as to whom they're and what they really want to protect and serve.
Right.
Because you tell this 17-year-old, thank you for shooting them, you got a problem. And then I'm gonna give you a hand gesture. Is that I thought that was Beyonce. That is a new language.
Oh, you know, it's a lot of symbols that go with these hands. That's why you got to be careful.
All of it.
That's why you got to be careful. That's why we need to talk to these young people so we can stay up on all of that stuff. Right. Me and you stuck on single ladies. No, head to the no. It ain't about no single ladies. This is all about shoot a nigga. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Right. Excuse my French, but yes, right.
Let the nigga shoot a nigga.
Right. Okay.
That's all what it is.
That being said, I'm sure as the evening goes on and tomorrow morning, we'll hear more on the stories developing in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Just a reminder, Kenosha is on curfew from 7 p.m. tonight to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. They have a 12-hour curfew, you guys. All right. So let's continue on. Yesterday would have been the 19th anniversary of R&B singer Aaliyah's death. Fans paid tribute to her legacy yesterday on social media. As you guys know, on August 25th, 2001, tragedy struck when her plane crashed in the Bahamas. She was wrapping up a video and her plane crashed. Where were you at when you found out Aaliyah had passed?
So are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
2001, I got diagnosed with lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and Raynaud syndrome. I was at a home where I had to start living because I was no longer mobile. I was no longer independent. And I remember the day she passed on my walker at age 27. I walked to the living room to see the videos that they were showing on television. I remember clearly crying about it. She a Capricorn, I'm Capricorn. So that's, and she's such a sweet spirit. She was such a very sweet presence. So I remember clearly what was happening to me in 2001 in August. It was the hardest time of my life.
Oh,
so I remember. Where were you?
I was actually in New York City. I was at the Hyatt Hotel Grand Central. And if I'm not mistaken, my phone just started blowing up, and I thought something was wrong. I thought, and everybody was calling me. Have you heard? What did you hear? Aaliyah's dead. Do you know anything? And I, was like, no, I don't know, and all of that. But I was in New York City. I was there on a trip because my mother had died in '99 around this time.
Oh, okay.
Meet with her people and to hang out, and kind of my mom and I enjoyed going to New York together. And so I'll never forget it. I was in New York City in a Hyatt hotel room when I found out Aaliyah was dead, and just tragic in so many ways. And I was glued to the TV for the next 24 hours after her death.
Wow.
Yeah. Takana, we do have a correction. Wisconsin is actually an open carry. And one of the police officers said that at the news conference this evening. Somebody just sent me a message. So they are an open carry. Wisconsin.
But you have to be a resident, right? Do you have to be a resident? Because he's not a resident.
Right. You're right. This young man who did this was actually from Illinois. Right.
Illinois is not an open carry state.
Right. Antioch. So yes, absolutely. Oh, he's gonna be in trouble now. He really is. He's gonna be in trouble. Yeah,
but I don't think them just get him. I want them to give his mama, his daddy, his grandmama, and granddad. I want all of them guys, because that's who taught him that behavior. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the way people are raised in their homes. I mean, same way he was raised like that. You got people that are raised, around drugs, and people that's raised around, pimps, prostitutes, and everything else. So, I mean, that's just the way his family decided to take that direction with him. But I do want everybody to fess up to what they've done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hopefully they will and have their wonderful day in court.
Yes. All right. Our last news story tonight. We want to congratulate rapper Cardi B. She has become the first only female rapper with the longest chart-topping album in Billboard's 200th history. The WAP hitmaker, you know what WAP stands for, right?
Worship and praise, right?
That's right. Always. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Not at all.
Yes. And see, I say it's with a pappy. Right. It's with a pappy. Yes. What is WAP? Is with a pappy. Yes. The WAP hitmaker has celebrated the record being broke with her acclaimed debut album, Invasion of Privacy. You guys know that came out in 2018. And my favorite song on there is I Like It. That's my little theme song. Cardi thanked all of her fans via social media, saying it feels very good. Thank you guys for supporting and listening to Invasion of Privacy. She said she is working on her second album. It's taking some time, but it will be an amazing project. Because isn't she a mommy now, or becoming a mommy? Or
she's a mommy now, and rekindled wife and all of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like Cardi B. She's kind of dope to me. I like her. I like all of her little, let's get this shmoney. I like all of that. I love her character. It's amazing. That's why
I like it. Is my theme song. That's my new theme song since COVID. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I like them Valencias, the ones that look like socks. Yeah, yeah, I do. Yes, I like it. I do. Well, for those of you all that are just tuning in, welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Glad to be here with you guys on a wonderful Wednesday evening. Don't forget, it is extremely hot here in the Chicagoland area. Please make sure you check on your seniors. Make sure your pets are staying hydrated, and please do not leave your children in any vehicles, and make sure you apply sunscreen to them babies. I actually got sunburned last week. It's going to be extremely hot again tomorrow, and it should cool off by late Friday, early Saturday. Saturday should be in the 80s. Yes, it should. But please take precaution, you guys. It's extremely hot out there. I need you guys to do me a huge favor. Go over to YouTube and like the Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube. It's really easy, really simple. It's free. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. If you subscribe, it helps me out a lot with this show. The show is starting to get a lot of attention from people, and we want to build the numbers up. If you also go over to Facebook and like the Real Chat Daddy Show there on Facebook, that would help out as well too. And then whenever you get a moment, stop by my website. Do you all know what my website is? You should. I'm always talking about it on the show. If not, here it is right there. It is therealchatdaddy.com. That's what it is, baby. That's what it is. Therealchatdaddy.com. Our guest co-host tonight is Chef Takana. Her name on there says Takana Young. That's the educator. That's the minister. That's, you know, that person. But Takana actually can cook her giblets off. She really can. Chef Takana, real quick before we introduce our next guest, tell us all about Chef Takana and what you do. Takana's Kitchen.
So yes, Takana's Kitchen is my website, takanaskitchen.com. I am a curator of all things that make your tummy excited. I offer meal prep. I offer holistic meals. I deal with my clients on pain management through cannabis-infused items. Get you off those opioids and the synthetic meds. I am that person to talk to. I also teach those classes. I offer weekly menus as well as catering options. So all things food, all things, that's who I am. My slogan is, you should let me feed you. And so if you ever need me, you can always reach me at takanaskitchen.com, 872-240-COOK. That's me.
Oh, and what's that tagline again?
Oh, you should let me feed you.
Oh, I love that. I do. I love that. I do. I don't know. I forgot we got these young people coming up. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna hold my mule and clutch my pearls. But I like you know what I'm saying? I like that. Yes, amen. All right, well, Takana, you've assembled a wonderful group of young people to join us tonight, and I am so honored. I'm gonna let you kind of introduce them and bring them into the fold. I see we all have them here. Nice young people as well, too. I'm going to pop them all on the screen. All right, young people, get ready. Stop doing what y'all doing. Turn that Cardi music off. Turn Fetty Wap off, y'all. Turn it off. Right. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, our three young people that are joining us tonight. There's one. There's two. And here comes number three. Yay. Beautiful. Hey, boy.
Hey guys, how are you?
I can't hear.
Uh-oh, they can't hear you.
They can't hear me?
I can. Well, you sound right. Okay, we can hear you. Everybody can hear. Can you guys hear me good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Takana, how did you meet these young people? And then we're going to let them all introduce themselves. Go right ahead.
So I'm going to start at the top. Malcolm Henry is my nephew in love. I inherited him when I inherited his uncle.
that kind of makes sense. That kind of works. Yeah.
So I inherited him through love. My other two love languages are on here: Jeremiah Goodman and Micaiah Thumb, because they call her Pinky, but she's my thumb because she's not a Pinky. She's on here. I met those two in 2018. I was a dean at their high school. And I was Miss Young, Dean Young, and that relationship has evolved in a major way. And I really want them to talk to you guys, talk to everybody about that kind of thing. But I'm excited that they're here, and I can't wait for them to introduce themselves. I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's start with ladies first. Is it Micaiah?
It's Micaiah.
Micaiah. All right, let me make sure I get that right. Micaiah, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and who you are. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. Well, my name is Micaiah Barnes, and I don't know what to say. I'm a little nervous though.
That's all right. You're doing a good job. How old are you? Where you at in life right now? You know, that kind of stuff.
I'm 18. I'm in a good space in my life right now.
You are?
And I just started back on this project that I was working on when I was in school. I'm starting back now working on it, and it's called Time and Memory. It got something to do with like gun violence and like creating a space for like I can't get my thought right. Basically, creating a space for like the youth to basically express themselves.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Mr. Jeremiah. How are you, sir? Good evening and welcome to the show. Let's talk to you. Tell us who you
I'm
are.
good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
I don't know why my camera looking like this, but y'all can see me, right?
Yes.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. We see the red baseball cap on.
I'm Jeremiah. I'm 18. Right now I'm in college, Eastern Illinois University, freshman in college. So pretty new state of my life right now. Just getting used to being a college student, not a high school student anymore. Getting used to the feel of college, and it's already difficult because all this COVID-19 stuff going on. But kudos to my school for trying to make the best experience we can. I'm an athlete, but I'm also an activist, and I want to be a bigger activist for the people who I connect with most, which is young Black men and young Black females from the inner city Chicago. So yeah.
Okay, very good. Great job. Glad to have you here. And let's talk to Brother Malcolm last but not least. Go right ahead, sir, and introduce yourself.
How's everybody doing? I'm Malcolm Henry. I'm 20 years old. I am currently the drummer at Chicago Hope Church, and I am working at Chicago Hope Academy, which is my old high school. So yeah, that's what I've got going on right now. I'm trying to explore options as far as school and education goes. And I think I'm here just because I want to continue to educate other people as well as myself on how you feel in America right now and why we may do some of the things that we do.
Okay, and I like that. And Chef Takana, if we could, I'd like to start that off as the opening of our conversation. As you guys all know, we had all the looting and rioting here in Chicago. We're talking about Black Lives Matter. But when we, as the public and the world, looked at the news, all we saw was young Black people wilding out, stealing. And nobody brought you not one pair of Gucci shoes out the situation. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. Not that I would have accepted it. Not that I would have accepted it. But I want to know what are you all's thoughts and feelings? Do you feel as if that was reparation? Do you feel as if it was wrong? Where are you at with all the things that have gone on here in Chicago? And whoever would like to start first, just put your hand up and we can go ahead and talk about it.
I can start first.
Okay, go right ahead, Malcolm.
I really feel like the whole looting thing, there's a way for us to do things as Black people who feel mistreated in America. I think protesting is something we've been doing for years, and it's something we need to continue to do. I personally would not go out and loot a store. I would not tear up a store, whether it's Black owned, whether it's not, that doesn't matter to me. I just don't think that is what is best for us. But also I see the side that the looters might have of, hey, we've been mistreated for all this time and the peaceful protests don't seem to be changing anything. So now we have to use a different tactic to help wake people up and make them listen. I'm not a very violent person myself, but I do understand that once you get fed up and once you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you sometimes do things that some other people may not find favorable. But I do think that we as Black people, we don't need to prove to anybody that we're good. We don't need to prove to anybody that we're worthy of being given the change that we're demanding. But we do need to show them that they have no right and no reason and no justification for treating us badly. And how do we do that? That's by acting civilized and treating ourselves and other people with respect at all times.
What I like about all of you all is that you definitely are continuing your education. You are talking positive things. Chef Takana, you wanted to add something to that?
No, I just think that was well said. I always believe that riots are the actions of those that have been most unheard. And so while I understand the writing, I agree with Mac that the looting is counterproductive to the message. What you really are wanting and hoping for is lost in translation when those type of actions occur.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to chime in on that question? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll chime in. Basically, my thoughts and intakes on it is like it's been all over the place. Because I wish it was a better way, but then again, when you look at it and you look at the places that were looted, it's kind of like places that I've been throughout my years in Chicago, and these are places where when I step in there, I get followed around as if I'm trying to steal something or take something that don't belong to me anyways. And it's like you called almost like, you know, the whole police force was there for places that has been racially discriminated. Like we've been discriminated against in these places for so long, and like we're so young, and it's like it just doesn't matter to them, you know. And it's like all the Gucci stores and the Macy's and all that. It's like these are places that racially profile people of color and young people of color, to be specific, like all the time. So like when I saw and I woke up the next day and I saw that they were looted, like I wasn't happy because, you know, I know like a lot of people were going to get arrested and they were taking this round of looting very serious. But like then again, another part of me was like, hey, like how patient should we be? It's kind of like a cause and effect kind of thing. Y'all do this and we do that. I just wish it was an easier way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Barnes, you want to add anything to that equation?
I agree. And I do feel like it was disruptive to the point of the whole Black Lives Matter thing. But it's just, I feel like they put it, I don't know how you put this. The looting and stealing and stuff, it was all wrong. But it's like some people did it to be heard. But I feel like you shouldn't do that to be heard. It's another way to do it. But we've been quiet for so many years, and like we tired of that. Like it's like you gotta have a voice one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you all this, and what I'm picking up from this entire conversation, and Chef, maybe you can help me with this. Somewhere we've dropped the ball because these young people saying, you know, we tired of it. These are our young people. They shouldn't be tired of anything other than studying and playing sports and trying to get their first job and you know, do whatever. But these young people sound to me almost like, you know, they the mom and daddy. And no disrespect to anybody's parent, you know what I'm saying? But it almost sounds as if our generation dropped the ball and now they've got to pick it up to get justice for us. Because guess what? Same thing happened to me at the Gucci store back in 1985, 86. Same thing. And we was down there buying them belts and them shoes and all that. And so, oh, absolutely. Don't let me go in there and get my belt from back then. I can't fit it, but I'll go get it. But you know, we've been through this. What do you think, Takana? Because that's what they're saying to us.
So I agree. It's just unfortunate. A lot of our kids, a lot of our youth, and I don't mean to refer to you guys as our kids, but y'all my babies, you know I love you. So it is difficult because what I have seen is a lot of these teenagers are having to assume the position of adults. It's challenging because they are, without the strength, mindset, and maturity of an adult, having to act in their homes as another adult. And they don't have supportive parents, not all of them. Of course, these three that are there, that are on here with us, they do. I know their homes, I know their backgrounds extensively. I've dealt with them. So they have the stability and understand how to maneuver and function. And we're going to get into a little further dialogue. I have a very, very good conversation or a unique story about Jeremiah, to be exact. But that goes with this. But our kids nowadays, unfortunately, don't have the structure that maybe you and we had coming up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them are trying to learn this life on their own and fending for themselves. And they don't know any better.
Well, I tell y'all one thing. When I was young, maybe you all's age, when the street lights came on, I had to go in the house. When the
Me
street
too.
lights came on. And if I
Back
didn't
then.
get in that house, my mama would come out with her moo and her wig sitting on her head.
Not the moo-moo.
Her moo and her wig sitting on her head crooked. And she'd say, get yo in the house. Where now you all don't really even have curfews like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, Chef, take us in the next direction with this conversation. What do you want to bring up with these young people too?
I want to talk about the current events. Y'all all know that I love talking about current events, and that's something for me that drives a lot of our conversations that we've had. And so what I want to talk about is some of the instances where you've seen young people act out negatively when things, we just had this last show, Jeremiah, you were present. We had a conversation about the young ladies at the airport, couldn't get on the plane, got upset, started throwing stuff. Another incident at a Chuck E. Cheese, something didn't go somebody's way. They started picking up things and throwing them. So the conversation is the mentality. What is that about? What happened that we can't communicate effectively and resolve things that are happening? Why do we have to, as young adults, start throwing stuff, cussing people out, acting an ass? Y'all grown now. So what is that about and why? I always want to know why. Can y'all help me understand that? Whoever want to start, go.
Look, I'm like, who wants to answer that? Why wild out? Miss Barnes, I think you can help us.
I feel like certain people wild out because of their backgrounds and what they taught when they was younger. But everything is something that I learned from this young. Everything don't need no reaction or a response. And I had to learn that. But it's like when certain people talk to you in a certain type of manner, you're going to get them the same feedback. But I seen the video stuff that she's talking about. They didn't have to do that. Like, it was just uncalled for. It was.
Okay. Who else want to speak on the wilding out? What's going on with the wilding out? Jeremiah, you down there in college at Eastern. So you done made it out. But you know, before you left this wherever side of the city you live on, you know folks like to wild out. You know they do. Why wild out? What's the issue?
Well, I'm from the west side of Chicago, so I've been
y'all
wilding out my whole life.
Jeremiah, y'all west side wild out. That's what you do.
That's an interesting question, and it's like, you know, like when you hear people like wilding out at like public places like that, it's like, you know, you kind of think of like that's what children do and that's what immature people do, but it's like some people just haven't had the right kind of like growing up, like they just wasn't taught to like, oh, this is how we're going to approach the problem, and this is how we're going to talk through the problem. This is how we're going to get results from the problem. Not everybody had that taught to them growing up, and you know, I can be honest here. There's been times where I wilding out, like, and like, but there's also a time to reflect and like remember like what kind of person you are and like what kind of status you hold in society, and like understand like you Black and you doing this. Once it hit the certain kind of media, there is no like good connotation behind it. It's always going to be bad. So it's like, just think about your actions before you do it. Like, is this something that I would want my face on the media and want to be known for? And like when people see me around in public, is this something that I want to be remembered for? So yeah.
Very good. All right, Malcolm, what do you think about the wilding out? What makes them want to wild out?
Yeah, you know what? I've never really been the type to wild out, but I've witnessed it plenty of times. I've had friends who have you just really gotta talk them down and be like, look, this is not the situation that requires that kind of response. But I just feel like people, it depends on your background, it depends on how you grew up, who raised you, it depends on who you hang out with. Because if someone says something disrespectful to me, I'm very sarcastic. I'm very witty. I'm quick-witted. I get that from both my parents. So I can easily talk somebody back down and try to humble them as quickly as I can. But some people aren't able to do that, and some people, and that's not a bad thing, but that just means they may not be as quick-witted. So they might curse you out, they might get violent, and that's just the type of thing. It's a defense mechanism, especially when you've been mistreated as a young person. Like, you feel like anytime you feel like you're being a little bit disrespected, now you got to pop off on somebody. So I really think it depends on how you grew up, depends on how you were treated as a young person or a younger person. Because I've seen plenty of that, especially like young Black people. There's a lot of times where we don't trust white people, and it shouldn't be that way. And I don't walk into a room going, oh, there's a white lady sitting there. I can't trust her. But I do know that I might have to, keep my hands out of my pockets. I might have to, and it's a shame that we have to code change in order for other people to feel safe. But they don't have to change anything in order for us to feel safe. I guess that's a different thing. But yes, I just think that it's just a product of being frustrated, being fed up, being mistreated. And sometimes people just act differently because they've come from that kind of environment.
You know what I like more than anything? You speaking about code changing.
Yes.
And the best part about this conversation is that I look at my life back when I was you all's age, and we had to code change. I went from ghetto to fabulous in less than 60 seconds. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I lived in the ghetto, but my first jobs were on Michigan Avenue. They were around other people, and so I had to adapt and learn how to deal with other people at a very young age. But you're right, we as African Americans, we have to code switch all the time. We right now we could say something on here that a white person be like, what are they talking about? And everybody in these boxes would know exactly what we saying. Where one of us would go speak really proper and know that that's what we have to do in order to fit in our environment that we're in at this point. Chef, what do you want to add to that?
I just think that in itself is a problem. And I guess the reason for me it's so hard is because our youth have college, high school, learning who they are, learning how to maneuver and function in this privileged world that we do live in, learning how to assimilate into who they want to become, learning who they are, period. And now you got to learn how to code switch. I mean, when will all of these different lessons stop or lighten up so that we can just be? And for me, it's difficult because I feel like the having to learn who you are independently, period, is enough. But then I'm adding all of these other things to and code switching. Come on, man. It's like, I don't feel like our kids, unfortunately, African-American, brown kids, I don't feel like we get a chance, that they get a chance to really understand who they are because of all this other crap that they have to go through to become. All of these obstacles. And that's it's difficult for me.
No other race of people have to learn to code switch. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're Asian, you're Asian. If you're Hispanic, you're Hispanic. You might have to learn a second language, but you don't have to learn how to code switch. That was really great. I want to bring up the hot topic that has been going on since Sunday afternoon. I'm sure all of you young people know the name Jacob Blake. The thing is, he's an unarmed Black man that was shot by the police in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I want to find out, what is your take on this? And the NBA has postponed the playoff games tonight because of the Milwaukee Bucks. Your thought on his shooting, your thought on everything that's going on in Kenosha, and just all of that. Who wants to start first?
I can start.
Very good.
So without getting too specific, I'm very close with people in the law enforcement industry, and it really bothers me when it does bother me when people say that they're all racist, all cops are bad, but I also do realize that there's a real problem in the police force, and to me, it's not the fact that the police are bad. It's the fact that the people in those uniforms, some of them are horrible human beings and should not have the job that they have. So, and that's a perfect example right there. There's no reason why a guy without any weapons, not trying to attack you, should be shot in the back that many times at all, ever. I saw a side-by-side video on Instagram, and be careful not to get your news just from places like Facebook and Instagram. But this was like an actual video. This is nothing doctored, not pushing some agenda, but it was 2 videos. One video was his situation, and then the other one was a white person who resisted arrest and was trying to run away. And with the white person, they were chasing after him like a little kid, in preschool who isn't listening to you. And with the black guy, with Jacob, he gets shot 7 times in the back. I don't understand the disconnect. And yet there are still plenty of people who will just swear up and down he resisted arrest, swear up and down he pulled a gun, just so they could find any reason to justify this action. If I can kind of sway a little bit from the question, the whole George Floyd thing. I've heard plenty of people say that George Floyd, like we talk about, don't forget George Floyd, don't forget about this situation. Don't let that just be another thing that happened. And then there's people saying, oh, well, he had drugs in the system. Well, he was a convicted felon. He was this, he was that. Why does that matter? Why should that matter? Why should that determine whether he was killed or not? Why should that play any factor whether it was okay for him to be killed? They say that we're making him a hero. They say that we're trying to put him up on this pedestal. And I don't really think black people are doing that. I don't think so at all. I think what we're doing is saying, hey, this is another person that y'all are just murdering in the clear, in the light of day, in cold blood, for no reason. So I don't care what crime you just committed, even if that whatever $20 bill was fake. Why was he murdered in broad daylight for that? So you get a lot of people trying to justify these murders with, oh, they committed this crime. Oh, they were a bad person. He hit his wife. He beat his kids. It's like that has nothing to do with someone being murdered. I'm not going to go out and kill somebody, even if I know that they may have committed a crime last week. So I just don't understand that. I don't understand people trying to justify that. But there's plenty of that. And it's a shame because there's no sympathy, no empathy with these kinds of situations. And it's hurting big time.
And they're never ending. They seem to just keep going on and on and on. Anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah, I want to say something.
Okay, go right ahead.
It just makes me think about like how feared and like how powerful like black men and women really are, because like I don't really look into everything it takes to become a police officer, but I'm pretty sure you got to do some kind of physical training to learn how to take down somebody, learn how to get them to the ground, and like pulling out your gun be the second option if the case be the first. And if watching the video and like seeing how disturbing it is, the man was away, like before he even got to the door of his car, he was walking away. So if arresting him was that important and it was that serious, why not take him down and put him in cuffs before even getting a chance to think about killing somebody? And then it just makes me think like this is what's been going on for generations and generations. Like it's just happening differently and it's just happening like before our eyes. And it's like you would think that the police like world is like sick and tired of like dealing with everything that's going on, and like they would try to take action to stop it, but it's like they're not. And it just shows that like how careful you got to be with not just an interaction with a black person, with a police officer, but an interaction with anybody, because you never know what can happen next. Luckily Jacob Blake didn't lose his life, but he is paralyzed. That's enabling somebody to continue their life like
That's right.
before. So it's like it's difficult to watch and it's difficult to think about, but it's like it's hard, man. And it's like we were talking about code switching a few minutes ago, and it was like, and I remember the person who just talked, I forgot his name, but was it Malcolm? His name Malcolm? Yeah. And he was speaking about like the person behind the uniform is just an awful person, and like you think about like how does that kind of person get a job so important such as a police officer, and you think about how it's just really hard to like dictate who's a horrible person and who's not, because the officers who killed a lot of black men, a lot of black women, they're probably angels in the police academy. They're probably angels when they're trying to get the job. So of course you're gonna, you know, if you're the perfect fit, they're gonna if they think you're the perfect fit, they're gonna give you the job, and they're not gonna know until that you kill someone, which is unfortunate that you're not the right person for the job. And then when they figure all that out, they still don't give you they still don't give us justice, and they still don't take away that person's badge. They just give them a slap on the wrist in jail and continue with your life. So
yes, you're absolutely right. Now, Ms. Barnes, I have a question for you as a young female in today's society and seeing all these black men being killed. These could be your future husband, your future boyfriend, your future boo thing. It could, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel as a black woman to watch? And again, this can happen even in the streets with gang shootings, all of that. And you know, what do you think as a young black woman about the future of black men and what's going on?
I really feel like it's just to piggyback off of both of them. It's just wrong, and I feel like police officers use their uniform as a shield to just hold something over a black person, because like it's just heartbreaking, because I got brothers and I be scared for them, but at the same time you can't do nothing about it because it's just the type of world that we live in. But then again, you can try to control it, but you can't. Police hold a big spot over everybody, if you really want to be honest. Mm-hmm. But because I experienced a lot of stuff in high school like that with my brothers, especially JG, because he was a part of it. But
Talk about it.
That right there, that was a different type of situation, because we was just standing in front of the Apple store, and he wasn't doing nothing. He was like speaking for a friend, and they arrested him for no reason. And they was using so much force, and he was literally calm, but he got mad. That's the thing. They try to use a black man getting mad when they get arrested because y'all use so much force, and then y'all expect them to just sit there and be so calm. Like, no, I would be mad too, because y'all trying to arrest him for something he really didn't do. He was just sitting there calm speaking. But I just feel like the society we live in now is crazy, because it's like we all dying on a daily basis, and it's crazy.
It is. It really is. It begs the question of, if I was to give any of you all power, if I was to make you the president of the United States, or I was to make you the mayor of the city of Chicago, what would be 3 things you most want to change? Whether I made you president or mayor, and you can pick either one, president or mayor, but what would be the 3 things that you most would like to see change in our city or in our country? And I think, Malcolm, you might can kick us off with this while everybody else is thinking. 3 things that you most want to see change in. All
right. Kind of thinking on the fly here. I guess the first thing would obviously be racism and racial issues. It's hard to find a way to legislate that, because it's about your heart. And racism is sort of a state of mind, but it's your heart, and it's how people have learned to become. So I guess it's a matter of unlearning that. It's a matter of making sure that we're not teaching that. So maybe the second thing would be taking down things that represent racist issues and intentions, taking down Confederate statues, taking down, all these racist just symbols around the world, disbanding the KKK, because once, and I'm sure people would say, the KKK, they have a right to be a group, and maybe they do, but if the point of your group is to hate and potentially kill other Americans, that's that's not even a thing that should be
Right.
allowed to happen or
Mhm.
defended by anyone. Thing like that taken down. And I will say this as a Christian, a lot of people don't understand this phrase, so I'm going to make it very clear right now. Taking down statues and imagery of white Jesus
Come on.
doesn't mean making Jesus a black dude with dreads. It means making Jesus Jesus. It means making him look like what he looked like. There's a lot of whitewashing, and there's a lot of, and these are all phrases that a lot of people hear now, and they're just tired of hearing black people say, but it's true. Otherwise, we really wouldn't be saying it. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm looking for a fair shot at life. So things like taking down that type of imagery, those kind of symbols, and replacing them with just truth. It doesn't mean pushing Black Lives Matter, Black Power, all that doesn't mean we're better than everyone else. It simply means we need to not be treated like property. We need to not be treated like animals. And that's kind of offensive to animals, in my opinion. So I think it's just, we've come to a point in time where, yeah, I would definitely try to change the racial issues with taking down those symbols. Trying to think of a third thing. Just spreading positivity and love. There's so much. It's very easy to just criticize and hate on everyone who either doesn't agree with you or says something that you think is wrong. And I've had plenty of people say and post and repost plenty of things that are just outright wrong. It has nothing to do with what side you're on politically. It has nothing to do with what religion you're a part of, if at all. It's just right versus wrong, and a lot of people are trying to justify wrong, and it's getting frustrating. And so those are some of the things. That wasn't necessarily 3 specific things, but those.
That's all right. That's all right. They got the ball rolling. It did.
Yeah.
Miss Barnes, I'm gonna come back to you, my dear. I know there are 3 things. If you were the first African American female president, or if you was the second African American female mayor of the city of Chicago, what 3 things you want for the people more than anything?
I want to say racism and inequality, because I feel like we don't all get treated the same. And sometimes women don't get treated as equally as men because they feel like we can't do what they do, but we actually can. But a third one, honestly, the whole world just needs to change. Honestly,
You know what's so important for you to say that? Today is a day for equal rights. Today is a historic day. It really is. But I agree with you. The whole world needs to change. It really does. Jeremiah, where are you at with this? If I gave you that power to change some things, what would you change?
Well, you said I could choose between mayor and president. I'm going big. I'm gonna be the president. The first thing I feel like the first thing I'll change is the like constant gentrification. Like it's really difficult when like you grew up on certain blocks, you grew up in certain neighborhoods, and you remember certain corner stores and certain people that used to live on this house, and then some people that used to live at this house, and like you see that house be broken down into something like into this beautiful building, and like none of your people are living in it, and then like over time, like because I live in a very gentrified neighborhood. I stay on the west side of Humboldt Park, and I'm like, man, like growing up, I don't remember seeing all these white faces. Like these are people who like, and like not only are they moving to the neighborhood that I used to call that I call home, it's like they're moving to places that they know very little about. Like, do you know the history behind this neighborhood? Do you know the history about the person who used to live in this house or used to live in this like area? Like, do you understand like the power that might hold? And like they don't, they just live there because their jobs are closer and stuff like that.
Right.
I would also change the number of black schools. Like, I feel like we need a lot more of those, and we need a lot more like prestigious black schools. Like I feel like we have a lot of HBCUs, but we need to do the same thing with high schools, and like like not consider an all black school a neighborhood school, and not consider it just a fallback school. Make it like your first option, not because all your friends go there, but because like the academics, the sports, the extracurriculum, just the school as a whole, just is prepared to take you to the next step in life.
Yeah.
And another thing I would like try to change is just the high school graduation rate. You know, I grew up with a lot of friends, and like a lot of them didn't make, like, you know, I'm blessed to make it to see my freshman year of college and to graduate high school, but a lot of friends wasn't able to do that. You know, like either they were like, it was hard at home and they had to drop out of school to like help with bills and help with things around the house, or they were killed before they were able to see their senior year. So it was like, if I can do anything to change, it would definitely be something like that. Wow.
You know what, Chef, the one thing that I wanted to be years ago was a school teacher. And I could imagine going into the classroom, you being a dean of students, a fine dean of students at that, and having to be able to cope with all these problems that these young people have. You know, back when I was in high school back in 1908, the most we had to worry about was, you know, somebody brought a frog to school. Somebody hit somebody with a slingshot. You dealing with drugs and home life that's not right. All of that. What has it been like just being an administrator dealing with today's youth?
So for me, I dealt with trauma on a different type of level. It is not just the drugs, the kids coming into the schools with that. It's not just the erratic behavior, the ill-mannered, the cursing. I've been cursed out by the best. I probably know words I could teach all us.
Right.
And I'm not fearful of any of them because I had second graders cursing and using words that 20-year-olds don't know yet. So I had to realize that there is something else going on beyond what's being exhibited in behavior, and it was trauma. What they did not get at home, what they did not see in their community, and what they needed. And so I became those things because I wasn't accepting of the current system, the prison pipeline that a lot of education systems have, which is suspend, expel, ignore, get rid of. I am about why, what happened, what you need, and then that helps me know who you are. And so it's been a challenge. It's a beautiful challenge. I personally have always worked in a special ed realm. I love SPED because a lot of the kids and children that I was interacting with had other things that was going on beyond a diagnosis. And so becoming the dean of two of these beautiful young people that are present and being able to implement some of my ideologies with them and not it just be the regular, you did it, you out, but using it as a teaching moment has allowed them to, I feel personally, evolve. For example, Jeremiah and Micaiah have some social ventures that they've gotten into their senior year of high school. I really want them to tell you about what they did, what made them get to that, because we're only touching the surface, little scraping on the little edge of who those kids, who those two young people really are. And
you mean to tell me they holding back on me tonight?
They are withholding, Jack. They withholding. They holding it all. Malcolm and I, let me tell you, Malcolm and I had a conversation a couple Thursdays ago about just living in your truth and exposing the foolishness in such a practical way that it was so, I was like, I could sit here and talk to you for hours. So I want them to talk about the why they do what they do, why they believe how they believe, even the experiences. For example, Jeremiah and I had an experience. This young man, Jacob Blake, was de-escalating a fight and ended up shot 7 times, okay? Jeremiah Goodman, after dealing with me all that time fussing, was de-escalating a fight one day that Micaiah started talking about, ended up arrested, but he was de-escalating the fight, not a proponent, but he tried to stop it, and the authorities went left with him because he's an African man, and we are fearful. These Caucasian police officers were fearful. So a lot of things that have happened with them. Micaiah has lost several of her friends to gun violence. Young. Her entire life has been dreaded with, I'm going to a funeral for one of my friends. So these young people are pillars. They're huge. They're major. With the things that they have gone through, experienced, and triumphed over to become who they are with where they're going. And that's what I want them to talk about, because I can say it all day, but they have it.
But now let me tell you what, and I get this with our young people, because they've been through so much crazy stuff, they think this is normal routine. You and I are the ones clutching our pearls. You and I are the ones like, what the hell? These young people see this all day, every day. If they just ride in public transportation, they probably seeing all kind of foolishness and mess. I get that. But now, Micaiah, you really do have some more you need to talk to me about. So go right ahead.
Oh, where do I start? Okay. When I started my senior year, we had to compare something we love and something we hate. I don't like gun violence, and I lost my best friend, and I love my best friend. So I compared them two together, and I created this social venture called Time and Memory. And basically, the whole goal of the project was to basically create a space in schools to talk about their trauma, express everything. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why I did this. When I was at school, the day before I lost my best friend, it was the day before New Year's. We was coming back from school, and they called the trauma people for school, but they wasn't really talking to me how I needed them to talk to me. They was having us color, all this and that. But his cousins, that we was like, we could communicate with each other and understand each other because we all been through it. The people that was talking to us, they wasn't no type of help at all. So I felt as if I could be a voice for other people that's going through what I'm going through and help them by creating a whole space in schools, and not just even schools, just in neighborhoods, and to like give people a voice to just talk. Because I just noticed some people, I didn't used to like talk at all, but Miss Young made me talk.
Well, you're going to really get good at it because you're getting good on this show now. And your eyelashes and eyebrows are on fleek.
Come on.
But it was just like, I just had to. And the experience that I went through during that whole process, doing a project, like the people that I partnered with, the people that I was talking to, and it was a good experience. And I don't know, I'm not trying to get emotional because I don't like talking about my best friend, but it's just the gun violence, it'll make you like lose your mind. It really would. Because that's hard. I was like 16, 17, 15, and I'm experiencing that. Like that's hard, especially for a female. But it's like, I don't know, I had to push through that and like start expressing myself more, because I see being quiet is not gonna do nothing for you at all. Close mouth, don't get fed.
Come on.
Right, I love it. I do. Well, great job. You're doing a good job. You're gonna be able to express yourself more very soon. Jeremiah, what's your story? I need to know more than I already know. You've been doing a great job. All of you all have. What's the other story I need to hear?
Like, you want me to talk about my social venture or what Ms. Young was talking about?
Yes, both. Social venture and your experience with the police with the de-escalation.
Okay, I'll talk about the de-escalation and then transfer over. So basically, it was like, a normal high school altercation, like a female fight or whatever. And I knew one of the young ladies, so I was like, look at where we're at. We're at the Apple store. We're up north. There's like a lot of white people around. Let me try to do my best to like end this so nobody will get in trouble. Like, y'all did what y'all had to do. Okay, now let's just go. And like a lot of police officers were there, and like, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm de-escalating the situation, because as one of the young ladies is trying to fight the other person, I'm holding her back. And like, I don't know what could be more clear than I'm trying to stop something. And I was told to go home, and the officer was blocking the way that I had to walk to go home. But I already knew his intentions, because even when I tried to go around him, he would like put his hand on my chest and move me or whatever. And like, he like pushed me like really hard. And all I said was like, do not touch me. And like within a split second, like I'm against a brick wall, like my face is all against the wall. And I'm like now I'm amped up. And like, I'm pretty sure if that happened to me now, I have the ability to stay calm. But then I was a different person, and I had a different level of maturity, and so like I was amped up, like I was cursing doing all that, but like what do you expect when something so small turns to something so big? And like something that really triggered me was it was like at least 5 or 6 black officers just watching this white officer arrest me for no reason. Like I'm getting slammed on the wall, on the car, and I'm like, why is this happening? And I'm trying to stop I'm doing y'all job right now. Right. And like, it was scary, but then again, like when you're so mad, you're not worried about being scared or not. You're just thinking about it afterwards. And I just remember going to the station, being called out of my name, being called the B word, all that, and like by the same officer that arrested me. And I'm like, okay, like I see what you're doing. But when Miss Young showed up, the station was by the school. My mom could make it at the time, so Miss Young came and got me. God bless Miss Young. But like, I just remember his whole demeanor changed when Miss Young entered the room. Like he lowered his tone when he was talking to me. He was calling me young man. He was trying to connect his ways of life when he was young to me. And I'm like, is you really doing, like, why didn't you do this when it was just me and you? And it was just the two of us in the room. And then like, I felt that kind of like, and that made me want to start the organization that I'm trying to, do more for, which is called LCU MJ. It's called Life Changers United in Moral Justice. I started it with one of my close female friends named Arkaya O'Neill. Yeah. And, basically, we lost a lot of people growing up as well, just like Makaya did. And it was like, it's really hard dealing with it. But you're right. After a while, we do become numb to the fact, but we don't become ignorant to the fact. And so, like, we still pay attention to it. We just don't feel the same way we felt when it first started happening. And so, like, basically, what we do is we're the safe place for like youth in the inner city that like you're dealing with this, and like you don't know where to put your trauma. You don't know where to put your anger and emotions. So come to this circle, come to us, and come to people who feel the same way you feel, and let's try to deal with that. Let's try to give you skills so you can handle that in a different way, and you don't have to act out and put yourself in a position that later in life you wish you weren't in. Right. And so like we focus on TTSD, which is continuous traumatic stress disorder, and it was like when we're dealing with something every day, it's like it's continuous, it's causing trauma, and it hurts us every single day. And so basically what LCUMJ is like we're basically like a safe place, a restorative group, and like we just want to give inner city youth the skills and the ability to like handle what they're dealing with and like cope with different things in their life, and so they won't become another statistic.
Absolutely.
You know what? This is so beautiful. Just everything you all have said. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. My platform is always here for you, whatever you need. If you want to have a youth conversation, if you need my help with anything, Miss Barnes, you got a lot to say. That's what everybody was saying, that you gonna come out of that shell and you're gonna turn your pain into purpose. You really are. My friends are texting me now just saying, you're getting ready to be a superstar. All of you all are. And I'm just very proud of you in so many different ways. Chef, go ahead and continue, because I'm moved. This was really good. Everybody's saying this was a master class of young people tonight. And really it is. It really is. This is a young people's master class. Yes. Go ahead, Chef.
All I wanted to add is each one of these young people that are here are masters of their own world. They are so complex, but so amazing. When I think about when I met all three of them individually, separate, I met them with who they were. I met Makaya screaming throughout the building at the high school that I worked. I literally heard her on the second floor.
Wait a minute, not this soft-spoken young lady.
Baby.
Be kidding
me. Don't let me use my New Orleans twang, baby.
Baby, I'm sure. Go right ahead.
Heard her voice screaming because someone wasn't listening to her with what was going on with her. So keep in mind, she mentioned her friend that was killed. Unfortunately, he was killed the year that I started, January of 2018. Unfortunately, he died. His father was at home. His father was a security guard. His father was cleaning out his weapon, and unfortunately, his son got killed while he was cleaning his weapon. It was an accident. It was nothing targeted. It was an accident. However, it took her whole breath away. And so she comes back to school January 2018. I hear her screaming, squealing she could get an AKA to run for their money, baby. When it comes to that squeal, she got them all beat. You hear me? And I did not run upstairs to, what are you doing? I couldn't reprimand her. I literally grabbed her hands and had her face to face. Talk to me, calm down. So I saw that she was in trauma. She was in raging trauma, but she was able to find a safe place and unpack. Jeremiah was very loud and boisterous and argumentative and challenging of his teachers. And I would always have to hear what JG was saying to his African-American history teacher. And it was always a challenge. And she's probably watching tonight. But he went from not being able to understand authority, not understanding how to be respectful of leadership, to recognizing I am a leader, but my voice matters, because I made sure they understood your voice matters. I want to hear what you got to say. It is important to me, but it's the way and how you do it. Malcolm, I've known for more than the 2 years that I've known these other beautiful people. And he and I had a conversation years ago, before he graduated high school, about, he didn't know that I was a dean, and was like, you a dean? Like, because he didn't meet me on the dean level. He met me on auntie level cooking. He met me on, you got some sweets, auntie, you got some no-nana pudding. Like, so he met auntie. He didn't meet Dean Young. And so he and our relationship has grown and developed in our conversations, because he's very, very intuitive and very, very deep and intelligent. And these 3 people, listen, I have a whole slew of a roster of them, but it's so important to me that they are heard and validated, because what they have to bring to our new generation, our years to come, is invaluable. And I took some of the youth at the school to a organization called a Peace Hub a few years ago. And the experience that they had, I feel, was life-changing. Jeremiah had an experience that I will never in my life forget. That I wasn't even in the room with him. I'm not even going to tell it. I'll let him tell it if time permits. But just the transformation that you get to see with a teenager that comes to you with trauma, that you give them the freedom to be who they actually are, and you validate them and allow them to blossom. It is, man, ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. I'm sorry.
I love it. I do.
Fight for the end.
Yeah. I think they all are just amazing young people. Matter of fact, somebody just posted they all 3 should have their own show. And the thing is that everybody does have a backstory. Everybody has a backstory. But at this particular point in your life, young people, let God use you for good. Don't let the devil steal every moment of your life. Let him use you for good. Freshmen in college. Out here fighting for the rights of your friend. You out here playing the drums, doing the right thing. Even though you all are still young and doing what you need to do, you guys are living the life of trying to be right. And that's what I love more than anything. I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I so appreciate them. I appreciate you guys for trusting me with your stories and allowing me to have you guys be present, because that's important for me, that you are able to speak for yourselves, and I'm not just speaking for you, or they're not adults in the room having a conversation about what impacts you, what affects you. Your voice is so valuable to me, because I can only assume what we as adults need to do to better help you to facilitate your actions, your dreams. But it's up to you to have your voice on it. So I know we're not in the wrong lane. You know what I'm saying? Y'all always check me. All of you have in some type of way got me together. And I appreciate that, because I am not the adults of our yesteryears where I don't feel like you get me together is not valuable. I appreciate that. I need that. We all do.
Mm-hmm. Wait, we almost lost Miss Barnes. Let's add her back to the stream.
Okay.
Okay, that's all right. I want to say good night to you all in the right way. I really do. In closing, well, let me do this real quick. Coming up tomorrow night on the Thursday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show, we welcome to the show actress and activist Anne Marie Johnson. You guys would remember her as Nadine Hudson Thomas on the sitcom What's Happening Now. She also was Althea Tibbs on the NBC hit drama In the Heat of the Night, and she was one of the cast members of In Living Colors, and she also was on the show Girlfriend. She'll be here with us tomorrow night to talk about a wonderful event against racism and stereotyping, and so I'm looking forward to welcoming actress Anne Marie Johnson tomorrow night. Anna's relationship Thursday, so that means we're going to talk about love, sex, and everything in between. It's cold.
Everybody smile. Everybody smile.
Right. Wait, let me tell y'all what to do. Make sure you wear a mask. Put your mask on. Make sure you sanitize, social distance, and wrap it up. Don't be nasty. I need to ask these young people. That's a whole other show. We have to talk about sex during COVID with young people and see what y'all doing. Because right now, ain't nobody getting none. Ain't nobody getting none. None season. None season. Yes, it is. All right. I do. This is not your season. Ain't nobody getting none yet. Leave it alone. I'm still got the COVID and the cruise. No. All right. Well, on behalf of our three wonderful guests tonight, Chef, you did an outstanding job. They are just amazing. Everybody has enjoyed these young people. I think it's a great take on what we're facing right now. And then for them to share these backstories is even more incredible, because here's the deal. We did not ask for the backstories in the beginning. We waited till the end. I think that's so unique, because now I see how much growth they've had as young people.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Look, the half has only been told. If they get to talking about who they are in their journey, it is mind-blowing. It's amazing. And that's why I love them all.
Didn't I give them all an invite to come back? Didn't I give them all an invite to come back? Didn't they all see my email address in that email? Didn't they all see my cell phone number? So guess what? Whatever y'all need other than some money, I got you.
Thank you very much.
I do. I have you all. That's right. Anything other than the money, I got you, and I can help you with whatever you need. I really do appreciate you putting these young people together tonight. I really do. You did a great job. Anybody have anything in closing they want to say before we have to run?
I'll just say I appreciate all of you all. Nice meeting y'all. And I'm just glad we were able to have this conversation. I love doing stuff like this, so I really do appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, anytime you want to come back, Miss Barnes, anything in closing you want to say to everybody?
I want to have another conversation like this because I like stuff like this.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yay. Okay. So I already got that approval. And look, JG down there at Eastern Illinois University. What you want to say, JG?
I just, I'm thankful and I'm blessed to be here. I appreciate you having me. Hopefully, one day I get my own show and we talk about the same thing, and then you be my guest. My guest on the show.
Anytime. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that's the goal. Yeah, I love to be back, and I wish you luck on the show.
Okay, well, Chef, listen, we'll have to make this happen again because these people are really enjoying them tonight. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, you can always go to YouTube to watch the encore performance of this show. It's the Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube. Go right there, watch these young people. Make sure you subscribe to the page. Also on Facebook, it's the Real Chat Daddy Show. And I'm very, very proud of these young people. I am. Great job. Chef, in closing, what do you want to say to everybody?
I want to just tell you guys, I love you. You know how I am. If I tell you I love you, y'all already know I'm sticky. I love you. I'm grateful that you all took this leap of faith. This was not the regular. This is different. And you know I do the difference. all the time. So I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate you sharing and giving of yourselves, your time, your effort, your energy, your thoughts, your gifts. This for me is telling of how great you will definitely continue to become. And JG, I'm gonna hold you to it. When is your show, boo? Because she gonna be there.
Give me a minute. I got you.
And I know you do it. See, this is the thing that I know about Rihanna. What I know about JG,
whatever you need to know, I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna give him coaching. Say, not only am I gonna be the guest, I'm gonna be the director too. Like, okay, sit better.
I'm just gonna sit in the background and smile real hard and hold his little, hold the towel for me, have some water. I appreciate you guys.
Get ready to help him have a show now. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for trusting me with your time, trusting me to share your stories and to be a part of them, because I don't take that for granted. It didn't have to be me, but I'm grateful that you allowed me to hear it, share it, and you trust me with it. So thank you. I always tell you thank you.
Very
Absolutely.
good.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Young people, you all were great tonight. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to pop you guys out the screen and we'll close the show out. Here we go. All right. Stay there. Don't move. All right. Here we go. Chef, I love you so very much. Thank you again. Tell them real quick how they can connect with you in your food business.
Absolutely. www.takanaskitchen.com. My first name, TACANAS kitchen.com. My phone number to connect with me is 872-240-COOK. And as I always say, you should let me feed you.
All right. Yeah, you should. That's a whole nother story. All right. Thank you, Dean Young. All right. Let me do this. On behalf of all my guests, God bless you all. I'll talk to you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. How you would actually join relationship. I'm out of here.